All right, you may know that Donald Trump recently fired the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because the job numbers came out this month. They weren't very good. People quickly realized this is the slowest pace of hiring we've seen in this country since 2020. Since the pandemic, the labor market's really struggling, inflation is rising, consumer confidence is not very good, and it's because of Donald Trump's policies. The wrench he's thrown in the global economy with these tariffs that are on and off and on and off and on and off, 145% here, 5% here, 15% here. It's madness. And so Donald Trump did the logical thing when people were like, wow, these job numbers are shit. The economic data is shit. He fired the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. He fired the person who gave him the stats and said, oh, it's rigged, right? Which is really scary, frankly. Because again, we're seeing this like expansion of executive authority, this hyper politicization of the executive branch, where these three-letter agencies like the Bureau of Labor Statistics are no longer largely independent from the president. The job of the Bureau of Labor Statistics is not to give us the most accurate economic data they can. No, it's to be a political arm of Donald Trump, just like the FBI, just like the DOJ, just like the SEC. And so Donald Trump selects a new person, E.J. Antoni. And so people have been digging in to E.J. Antoni's past. He was a contributor of Project 2025. He's an economist at the Heritage Foundation. But today we learned something very interesting, which is E.J. Antoni was at January 6th. Wow, this is him circled in yellow. And we're going to talk about that today because the White House's response is comical, to say the least. Before we go there, though, let me zoom out a little bit to how the financial world is reacting to this. The Financial Times wrote an article where they're actually interviewing several, frankly, conservative economists. This is one of them, quote, "The hope is that he would pick someone who people would have trust in and could lead the BLS in an appropriate way, with relevant experience and ideally not hyper-partisan," said Stan Voiger, senior fellow at the right-leaning American Enterprise Institute think tank. E.J. Antoni is really the opposite of that. Quote, "Even the people who may be somewhat sympathetic to his economic policy views don't think he's qualified." He's not qualified. What a surprise, right? Like the rest of Trump's administration, that's wildly qualified. If we scroll down here, quote, "The sad thing is that there are countless competent, respected conservative economists, especially at universities, who would do a terrific job running the Bureau of Labor Statistics," wrote Jessica Riedel, a former Heritage Fellow now at the conservative Manhattan Institute, quote, "But no credible economist would take a job in which you get fired for publishing accurate data." What are we going to see in the coming months from the Bureau of Labor Statistics? Is Wall Street going to react well to job numbers now, negatively to job numbers? Are they not going to care about the job numbers? Are we going to know if the unemployment rate is 7%, but the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, says no, it's 2%? I don't know. That sounds like a ticking time bomb for like an economic collapse, frankly. When Wall Street starts to sniff out that they're being lied to, usually doesn't go well. Right? Donald Trump said Antoni would, quote, "ensure that the numbers released are honest and accurate." And luckily, him being at January 6th gives me huge faith that he'll do that. He's really not partisan at all. The funny thing is, based on this story today, what the White House's response to this was. They said that he was a, quote, bystander outside the Capitol on January 6th. In fact, they said, quote, "He was a bystander who wandered over after seeing coverage on the news." That's right. Their claim is that E.J. Antoni saw the news in Washington, D.C., just walking around as an economist at the Heritage Foundation, and was like, I'm just going to walk past the barriers and check out what's going on and be in the crowd. And I'm also happen to wear all red, which is what everyone else was wearing to support the president. Really? Absolute positive bullshit. Antoni is on the west side of the Capitol in one video, archived from the social media website Parler, and appears in surveillance footage posted online by the Republican-led Committee on House Administration Subcommittee on Oversight. Reached by NBC News on Tuesday, Antoni declined to comment. A White House official said Wednesday, apologies for that Antoni was in Washington on January 6th for in-person meetings, not related to January 6th, of course, with his then employer at an office blocks away from the Capitol, and that he did not cross any barricades or participate in any demonstrations. The footage does not show Antoni crossing barricades or demonstrating. Well, obviously, I respect NBC News a lot. When we're saying that the footage does not show Antonio crossing barricades or demonstrating, again, at this point, it's like, I think we're past the Capitol perimeter, but is that considered not crossing a barrier? I don't know. Because obviously there's a perimeter outside of the Capitol, but also he's not demonstrating. It's like, well, he's in the middle. This is where he wandered to, in the middle of this fierce crowd. I don't know about that. The White House spokesperson, a White House spokesperson, said, quote, "These pictures show E.J. Antoni, a bystander to the events of January 6th, observing and then leaving the Capitol area. It is wrong and defamatory to suggest E.J. engaged in anything inappropriate or illegal." Okay, well, here's the thing. I responded to this on TikTok. Now, the link to my TikTok will be in the description down below. You don't have to go follow me there. I actually just want to show you this video because I'm kind of tooting my own horn here. I really like my response here to the fact that he, according to the White House, just wandered in and was an innocent bystander. Take a listen. So Trump's new pick for the Bureau of Labor Statistics was spotted in the crowd on January 6th. So the White House responded and said that he was just a, quote, bystander who wandered over. You know, this actually makes a lot of sense. I'm glad they cleared this up. It's like the same thing that happened with Jeffrey Epstein. You know, he accidentally wandered into Mar-a-Lago in early 1992 for a Calendar Girl event, then accidentally wandered into Mar-a-Lago again in November of 1992 where him and Donald Trump were seen partying together. He wandered into a New York City cafe grand opening where he was photographed in October of 1993 with Donald Trump with a bunch of young children, wandered into Trump's wedding in December of 1993. They were photographed hanging out together. It just happens to the best of us. Wandered into Mar-a-Lago again in 1997. Later in 1997, wandered into a New York City Victoria's Secret event where he was photographed hanging out with Donald Trump, and then wandered into Mar-a-Lago for a final time in 2000 where he was photographed next to Ghislaine Maxwell, Melania, and Donald Trump. Also, through that time, you know, they went on like 7 or 8 private jet rides together. But I get it. You know, it happens to the best of us. We just wander places. Also, his numbers will be completely impartial for the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which gives me a lot of faith. So Trump's new pick. So again, this is literally the argument that MAGA makes for like everything, including Jeffrey Epstein, which is like, oh, I mean, yeah, they weren't really friends. Jeffrey Epstein we should start using this. They should start using this. I'm giving advice now to the Trump White House about how they should approach things like Jeffrey Epstein. Listen, Epstein just like wandered in to Mar-a-Lago a few times, the wedding once, plane a few times. It just happened. You just want an innocent bystander. Trump was an innocent bystander when, you know, these checks were being written to Stormy Daniels, pay hush money to a porn star. That's why he's a convicted felon, because he's an innocent bystander, right? Let me know what you think of all this in the comments down below. This is truly insane. And I'm very curious where the U.S. economy is going to go, just purely based on the idea that we might not get accurate numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I appreciate you watching. I hope you have a great weekend. You guys are all the best. Make sure you subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next video.